Let's start here. Where the heck is R-Wabana Township?
Yep, so R-Wabana Township's about 20 minutes north of Grand Rapids, kind of in between Big Fork and Effie and Grand Rapids, the heart of Itasca County.
And let's talk about House District 7A, which you represent. We did the numbers downstairs. It's the state's 8th largest district at 2,540 square miles. A coworker of ours counted 63 cities and townships, from 16,000 people in Hibbing to about 40 people in a handful of other townships. How much of a challenge is that as a member with potentially so many varied interests?
Yeah, you know, it's challenging, and you get around a lot of different places, right? Because that's 3 counties too, and you're going everywhere from, like I said, that 40-person township to actually the state's largest city, which is Hibbing by land area. So the needs change, right? When you go to a city like Hibbing, you're working a lot of old, aging infrastructure that's 100 years old. Whereas you're going to a township where it's an aging population and you need to work on roads and bridges in there where they don't have the funding anymore, or it's property tax issues. It's a very dynamic district, and you go from mining and logging to, you know, how do we develop this downtown to attract young people back? How do we get housing in these communities? It's super dynamic, but I love the communities that I represent because they are so diverse.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. It's part of the Iron Range. Mm-hmm. And I took from your campaign page, you said the range and northern Minnesota are the keys to the world of tomorrow. Expand on that.
Yeah, so, you know, when we're sitting here right now, we're looking forward to the next 100 years. What's that going to mean? The big things we're talking about right now is, you know, supply chain, manufacturing, energy, housing. Well, what do you need for all of that? You need critical minerals of steel and gold, copper, nickel, platinum, palladium, cobalt. You also need trees to build houses. And where do all those exist? Right on the Iron Range. The Iron Range built the country from, you know, the 1890s on. We won the world wars, we built the skylines, we built the railroads. The Iron Range is positioned once again to build the world of tomorrow. And we're just asking to be a part of that. And that's why my people sent me down here, is to fight and work on those things and advocate for policy that's going to help them do what they do best.
What are some of those specifics? When you talk to people in your district, what do they have to say?
So some of the specifics are, you know, we're always trying to get that next big project. For example, the Huber Woods project was one that I worked on right when I got down here. It was going to be a $500+ million investment to Itasca County into the Iron Range to build orientated strand board, OSB. That project got pulled and canceled because we have permitting and regulation roadblocks in the way from doing that. You know, we've got the Polymet project that's in its, 19th year of permitting, 20th year of permitting. Since I've been a kid, I've been hearing about how we're going to mine copper nickel, and we need to fix those things. And people are tired of it because they have a lot of hope and a lot of pride on the Iron Range. We want to do these things, but bureaucracy is getting in the way. So I'm down here to try and fix that, to find solutions and to educate people so that we can really accomplish all those things and build that world of tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw in a release too from back in the 2023 session, once it wrapped up, you said it was a huge missed opportunity. So where do you think things went wrong? Yeah,
so, you know, when we look at that surplus that went away, there's 2 ways you can deal with a surplus. You can either give a handout, give money out one time, put it out there, and help and, you know, patch some holes, but those holes will open back up. Or you can do what I like to call a hand up, which would have been cutting taxes instead of raising them by $10 billion. You could have looked at different ways to, you know, like the school districts. We gave historic funding. We gave it with 65 mandates. School districts up by me actually saw negative dollars than they are used to because they have to fund so many mandates now. We could have done a way better job of giving those $2,000 rebate checks, giving people a hand up with tax breaks, and finding ways that people could have that more prosperity, more money in their pocket. We talk about, you know, nonprofits having to give them so much money this year. The reason they need so much more money is because people are being taxed and they don't have the extra income to be able to give. This is Minnesota. We are Minnesota nice. We're all about putting money in the pan at church and going to our local nonprofits and supporting them. But when we don't have money because we're being taxed and inflation is pushing us down, well, then we have a huge problem. We could have went the other way, and that's what my release was about.
And you serve on the Climate, Economic Development, and Sustainable Infrastructure Committees. Do you have anything in those areas that you'd like to work on in 2024?
Yeah, so one of the big bills, I work a lot in energy. I'm the chief sponsor on removing the nuclear moratorium in the state of Minnesota. I work a lot on carbon sequestration, carbon capture, trying to find ways for us to have that all of the above energy approach, and that's why I really like being on those 3 committees together, because they're all tied together. Right? You know, you find a way to remove that nuclear moratorium and we can build a new next-gen nuclear plant with, you know, that sodium or smaller reactors, put that in the community. That's economic development, that's tax-based, that's jobs, right? And that's all going to tie together and sustainable because you're providing carbon neutral energy to those regions. So I think those three committees I work so well together because every issue I carry, I can bring to all of them. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. The issues of my home, the issues of the district I represent are all tied to those three issues. And we need to not only advocate for them, but educate people on them so we can come together, build them, and make this world better for the next generation.
And what do you think makes sense in terms of a bonding bill this year?
You know, I'm not really sure. Obviously, we need to, I think if we do a bonding bill again, which this is the bonding year, and I've always supported bonding since I got down here, it needs to be strictly infrastructure. I mean, we need to make sure people have clean water. We need to make sure that we're taking care of state infrastructure. I would be cautious for us to go on the line of starting to pick new kind of bonding ideas and set new precedents this year. If we're going to do a bonding this year, let's fix things that are really needed. That's kind of my take right now.
And finally, in 2020, I asked you if there was a barrier between greater Minnesota and the metro areas. Do you still feel there is one? And if so, has it gotten bigger or have we closed the gap?
So I think there is a barrier, right? And there's barriers for a lot of reasons. It's not even so much politics as it is just the way we live, right? For me, when I'm down here in St. Paul, driving 20 minutes probably barely gets me across the metro. Me driving 20 minutes, I'm already almost to Hibbing. I mean, those little things, and that's just an idea I use, but the divide is because we live these different lives, and people inherently love to live in bubbles and don't like that worldview challenge, because why would you? If you've got your own little slice of heaven and how it works, why challenge that? But Minnesota is such a diverse place, whether you're on the North Shore, whether you're on the Iron Range, whether you're on the plains, whether you're out there in northwestern Minnesota. It's all different. And I think we need to find a way to educate and talk with each other more. You know, when we last talked was during COVID, and we couldn't even really have committee rooms in person. We couldn't get to know each other. The best part about this session this year, about being back in person, is we're building relationships again because we are in person. And I think the thing that I'm trying to impress upon other members of the legislature, especially with it being 40% new members this year, we need to get to know each other past our politics. How many kids do you have? Where do you live? What's your life story? What's your degree? What do you do for fun? Because it's those things that maybe if we're apart on the issue and we're going at it, you know, fighting mad at each other, at least I know that you're human at the end of the day and we're probably going to go laugh about it in the retiring room. And that's what politics is all about. And I think that's how we're going to cure that divide. Because if I talk to someone who represents maybe Inner Minneapolis about what happens in the Iron Range, and we do it while we're chatting and talking about our life experience, there's a chance that we're going to be able to work together moving forward, rather than just fighting over television screens on Zoom. And I think that's the key to fixing that divide.
All right, Representative Igo, thank you very much.
Thank you.